Hopefully it doesn't give it any issues. Okay, do you see at the top? We're live.
Yes, I see that.
Alrighty. So everyone, I'm gonna start sharing this on our Facebook group. If you guys can see us from YouTube or our Facebook, please post your questions on the side. There we go. Let me just share this. Okay, if you guys can hear us, please let me know. Because we are only on YouTube and not on Facebook. But I'm gonna share it. I think only the link, and then I'll post it on our Instagram too. Okay, there we go. Can you guys hear us on YouTube? We good? Let me know. Yep, you can hear us. Okay, there we go.
Perfect.
All right, so see if I click on it, you can see it on the screen.
Hi,
Hi.
yes. Okay, awesome.
Hi, Carlos. Carlos, can you share this on our Facebook, please? Thank you. Alrighty, so today we have Diana. She is an attorney from Texas. If you want to introduce yourself and let the folks know a little bit about you.
Of course. Hi. Well, first of all, thank you, Vanessa, for having me on Dreamers Together. For everyone else, thank you for joining. My name is Diana Yanis, and I'm an attorney in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Specifically, I'm located in Irving, which is between Dallas and Fort Worth. I'm very close to the Dallas field office, which is where I attend the adjustment of status interviews and naturalization interviews. I've been practicing immigration law for 5 years. Primarily, I've done family-based immigration as well as humanitarian cases. So if you have any questions regarding adjustment of status cases, military parole in place, BAWA, U visa, waivers, any questions, feel free to share them. We'll try to answer everyone's questions today. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you again, Vanessa.
You're welcome. All right, guys, you guys can start asking questions on here. And there's probably going to be a little bit of less people because we're on YouTube and we're trying to transfer everybody from Facebook onto here. Let's see, Carlos, if you have any questions. Alice, if you have any questions. Luis, hi, how you doing? If you have any questions. I guess we can talk about a little bit what's happening now with Texas and
Yes.
DACA.
Yes. So at the moment, DACA is a hot topic. As you know, in January, the Fifth Circuit agreed with the district court, stating that parts of DACA were illegal. And so right now, that ruling is limited to Texas, which means that we have to wait and see whether there's going to be an appeal, whether it's by the state of Texas, federal court, or a third party. If there is an appeal, then DACA will continue, and anyone can continue to renew their DACA, continue to apply for adjustment for advanced parole. But we have to wait and see. May 18th is going to be very important, and so we'll be following the news as far as DACA to see what's going to happen, because it's concerning right now. Everything's up in the air.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. We do have one question. So, okay, why is AP recommended for people? Can a DACA recipient who came in as a child and always renewed on time be able to get legal entry this way? Their end goal is to go to Canada to stay with their girlfriend.
Okay. So advanced parole is recommended. The reason why is because it allows children who came in, who currently have DACA, a lot of the time they came in, entry without inspection. And so it allows you to obtain a legal entry when you leave and then come back, because you're being inspected by immigration at that point. So I do always recommend advanced parole. You should take advantage of it right now that we have it, especially here in Texas. So once you have that legal entry, then you're able to apply for adjustment of status, usually through your U.S. citizen spouse, but it can also be a U.S. citizen child. So I do recommend it. Even if you have a deportation, DACA protects you from removal, and you should take advantage of applying for advanced parole. If you have a sick family member or any other humanitarian reason to travel, a dental reason, maybe through school or through your employer, you should definitely apply.
Yes. And do you have any tips on for the folks that are already adjusting status, like any tips on how to get ready to, go to their interview? What documents should they bring to the interview?
Of course. So right now with this administration, most people are getting interview notices. And so it's very important to go prepare to your interview. One of the main things that the officers will review, it's going to be the application or the applications that you submitted, which would be the I-130 and the I-485. They're going to ask you personal information. So your address, your date of birth, information about your spouse if you're applying through a marriage-based case. They're also going to ask you a lot of security questions. The policy is that now they have to go through those questions, which are going to be the yes and no questions that you answered whenever you filled out the application. So it's very important to review those to see what you answered and make sure that your answers are the same the day of the interview. With that being said, sometimes if there's a mistake on your application, you can correct that the day of the interview. So let's say something was marked no and it should be yes. You can explain to the officer and they'll make that correction during the interview. And at the end, they'll give you the chance to look over your the changes, any updates that you made, and sign off saying that everything on your application is true and correct. There's also a lot of documents that you have to take to your interviews. So pretty much everything that was submitted, take it in original form. Your original birth certificate, original marriage certificate. Additional bona fides are very important if it's a marriage-based case, because you need to, usually the officers can ask you, do you have additional evidence to submit? So it's good to have that prepared. That way you can provide it to the officer and it will be easier for them to adjudicate the I-130.
Perfect.
It's marriage-based.
I have a question here from Luis. I live in Houston and I have DACA. If no one appeals and we cannot renew, what would be our options at that point to renew?
Okay, that's a really good question. So if you're in Houston and there's no appeal, then a renewal will no longer be possible in Texas. So one option, which it's a personal decision whether you would want to do this or not, is if you were to move to another state and you're able to renew DACA somewhere else, maybe New Mexico, California. So that's one of your options. That way you maintain status with your DACA. Like I said, it depends on your personal decision if you want to move to another state or not. But that would allow you to maintain your DACA status, and then eventually definitely try to do advanced parole if you haven't done so already. That way you have that legal entry, because even if there's no DACA in Texas, then that legal entry is still going to allow you to file for adjustment of status.
Yes. But we have to do what we have to do. Okay.
Yes. So it's a tough choice though, having to move.
Let's see here. Red Devil said, hello everyone. So I was granted one entry and my expiration date is June 13, 2025. I was advised by my lawyer to only go for 1 day. What do you suggest? Also do they keep the AP document upon entry?
All right. So I think the reason why they advised you to just travel for 1 day is so that you leave and come back quickly. However, the advanced parole document is if it allows you to, it gives you a time frame for how long you can travel. So you can stay there for a week, for 2 weeks, as long as you come back before the expiration date. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend just going for 1 day if you want to stay there longer. That's totally up to you. Some people do go for 1 day, for a weekend, for a week. I would say that if you want to stay out of the country longer, then you should. Yes. As far as the AP document, usually they don't keep it. Or sometimes they'll keep like the second page of the advanced parole document, but usually they'll give it back to you, and it's going to have a stamp on it that says that you were paroled into the United States. And so that's the document that we would use to submit your adjustment of status application. Usually also the CBP is going to have record of the I-94 that you were admitted to the United States, but usually they don't keep the document when you enter.
So I do have a question also. Do you recommend for somebody who, I guess now with everything that's happening, to get a FOIA is it dangerous to get a FOIA now? That would be my question.
Oh, okay, that's a good question. So right now, well, usually how I do FOIAs, I fill them out with my information because the FOIA form is going to ask for your phone number, your email, your mailing address. So I put the office's address. That way, they don't have any information about the applicant or the person that is requesting that FOIA. A FOIA is very important, so I do recommend everyone to request a FOIA. You can do it on your own. It's free. There's guides on Dreamers Together. But also, if you need an attorney, they can also assist you with requesting it. It's safe to request your FOIA, and it's strongly recommended because, especially if you were ever detained or like at the border, it's important to know what immigration has on you, because we want to avoid a situation where you're going to whether it's your adjustment of status interview or a consular interview, and there's something comes up that you didn't know you had, like fraud or something that is going to affect you. So it's better to always be cautious and request your FOIA before starting an immigration case.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We have another question here from Teresa. It's not DACA related. My U.S. Citizen sister wants to petition for our mom. However, my mom doesn't have a legal entry. Can my sister still petition for her to get a green card and do a 601 waiver?
All right. So right now, assume she entered entry without inspection. So if your sister wants to petition for her, and she doesn't have a legal entry, then that's going to be a problem because the I-601 waiver can only be submitted through a U.S. citizen spouse or a parent. And if she doesn't have anyone who can file that I-601 waiver for her, then she's going to have a 10-year bar, which means that if she travels abroad for a consular interview, she's going to get stuck there for 10 years until that I-601 waiver gets filed. So right now, unfortunately, if she doesn't have anyone to do that waiver with, if your sister petitions for her, her case is going to get stuck. It's not going to proceed past the I-130 petition. Other options for her would be if she's ever a victim of a crime, she could apply or be eligible for a U visa, or if she's suffered like domestic violence through a child over 21. But those are very specific cases that do require evidence of the violence, whether it's emotional or physical.
Okay. Let's see here. Kayla says, I live in Texas and I'm going to renew my DACA tomorrow. What if it doesn't get approved by May 18th? Will it still be valid since I renewed before May 18th?
All right. So you're in Texas. It's good that you're going to renew your DACA. I would strongly advise that you do renew it. Some DACA renewals are getting approved very quickly, so it's possible that it gets approved before May 18th. If for whatever reason it didn't, then it might be in a limbo. Because if they're no longer issuing renewals here in Texas, then they won't be able to approve it past that date. But there's time, especially if you do an online DACA renewal, it's possible that it's going to be accepted immediately and you can get a response from them pretty quickly. Okay. But we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see, Jorge. My parents arrived in the 2000s with a B1 visa. They have I-130 sibling with a current PD.
With the current priority dates. Okay, they entered and exited with the B1 visa various times. All right, so this is going to depend on their priority date. It's possible that they can adjust with that petition. However, one of the requirements for 245I, it's going to depend on the exact priority date. But if some petitions do require that they have proof that they were here in the U.S. on December 21st of 2000. So if they came and if they entered and left, as long as they were here on that date on December 21st, 2000, and they have something to prove that presence, whether it's, it can be photos, it can be maybe a letter from their employer if they were working at the time, or something maybe like a contract to prove the presence during that date. Immigration won't really care if they entered and left because they were all legal entries, but that requirement is very important that they were here on December 21st, 2000. So if
Okay,
it was filed in 2000, they're more than likely going to need that requirement.
perfect.
Mhm.
Okay. Huh. Adolfo says, why is May 18 an important day for DACA?
Well, that is an important date because um, the way the decision went in January for the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, there has to be another appeal in order for DACA to, or at least here in the United States, in order for DACA to continue.
Mhm.
So that's going to be a very telling date. If there's an appeal filed on that date, then DACA is going to continue, and people can continue to renew until 2026. But if there's no appeal, then that decision is going to be final, and DACA is going to be stopped for people. This is going to affect specifically people in Texas. So if you're not in Texas, then you'll be okay. But if you're in Texas, then it's going to be we have to monitor what's happening with DACA. Hmm.
Okay, let's see. La Peque dice, I already did my AP. My daughter turns 21 on September 30th of this year. My DACA expires March 2026. What should I do? New DACA or apply for AOS?
All right, so it expires March of 2026. So it's still within it because you can apply renew your DACA if it's less than a year. So USCIS is gonna they will accept your DACA application. So I would recommend that you apply for that you renew your DACA. That way. It is a little bit early, but you can still do it. It's better to go ahead and do it. And then after that, once your daughter turns 21, then she can petition for you. And since you're going to have that legal entry, then you'll be able to do the adjustment of status here. Um, every field office is different, but right now I've been seeing a lot of AOS cases be adjudicated quickly. And so I would recommend to maintain your DACA status and also apply for adjustment as soon as your daughter turns 21.
Do you recommend, regardless of what status anybody's applying, if they have DACA, to always renew their DACA?
Yes, I do. Just because it's a security, so a lot of people will apply for adjustment of status, but they also maintain their DACA status. Like I said, it's a backup, and it's not going to affect anything because it's two different cases. So if for some reason the adjustment of status gets denied, you always have DACA as a backup.
All right, Luis has another question. He says, to follow up on Kayla's questions, I may renew before May 18th, but my current EAD expires 126. Would it be too soon to renew, and it may be rejected? Thank you.
Oh, okay. So it's not too soon. Well, usually what USCIS recommends is 150 days. But right now, given the current climate, it's better to just take advantage of the window that we have to renew a year before. So it's not going to get rejected because USCIS allows you to renew earlier than 150 days. So you're more than welcome to renew it. Even if it expires in January of 2026, go ahead and renew. And you're welcome. Thank you for your time. Thanks, Luis, for your question.
Teresa has a follow-up question to the earlier question.
Okay, my mom was physically assaulted by two girls while waiting in line at the mall. A police report was filed. This happened 2 years ago. How can she go about the U visa? So whenever this happened, okay, it's good that she called the police. She needs to get a copy of that police report because if there was a physical assault, sometimes some of those cases qualify for a U visa. So I always recommend getting a copy of the police report and having a lawyer look at it to see if they're eligible. Because the first step is to get the police report. After that, she has to get a signed certification from the police department or the prosecutor if the case is still open, stating that she cooperated with the police. So that way she can apply for the U visa. So I'm sorry about that. Sorry that happened. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they give you two interviews, one for the I-130 and one for the I-485. So usually they're given together. So let's say when you file your packet, you file the I-130 along with the I-485. So you'll just get one appointment notice, which is going to take care of both applications. So during the adjustment of status interview, they're also going to ask questions about the I-130. So if you're being petitioned by your son or daughter, they're going to go with you to the interview. If you're being petitioned by your spouse, they're going to go with you, and the officer is going to ask them questions just to confirm the relationship. So it's going to be conducted at the same time.
Okay. I think it's a follow-up to George's question earlier.
Okay. Priority date, April 30th, 2001. They were here before December 21st, 2000. Our concern was the entries and exits due to misrepresentation while living here, as told by us by another legal rep. Okay. So if it's April 30th, then they are going to need the proof of presence. Now, as far as the entries and exits, the only way there would be misrepresentation is if they lied about something and immigration actually has a record of it, but it doesn't affect them if they entered and left with a visa. So a misrepresentation, it has to be material, and it has to be usually what I would recommend in this case is to do a FOIA, just in case if they fear that there's going to be something on their record, they can request a FOIA to make sure there's no misrepresentation. Because if there is, then they're going to need a waiver. But usually leaving and coming back with the visitor's visa is not going to be a problem. So I would go ahead and you can file for a FOIA, and just to verify that there's nothing in their record relating to misrepresentation.
Yeah. Kristan, if I renew my DACA now and it goes into limbo after May 18th, can I still move to another state and try to renew, or there will have no other option? Would I have no other option?
Well, so the thing is that if you file for the renewal, I mean, immigration is going to know that you've been in Texas because they have like your physical address history. So that's something that we would have to see if there's any way to overcome that. But usually, if you were to move, I mean, there could, because everything that gets filled out in the application explains where you've been living. So it's possible that there's not going to be an option even if you move to another state. We just have to see and wait and see what happens. You can always try, but it's one of those things where
you have to try and see how it goes.
Yeah, one of those where we're going to be experimenting. I mean, you can always try it and see if that works.
Okay, let's see, Luis. One more question.
Of course, my mom became a citizen not too long ago, and if I did AP, is she able to petition for me as her eldest single child? Okay, so congratulations to your mom that she became a U.S. citizen. So it depends what country you're from, but usually if you're over 21 and you have a U.S. citizen parent, she can petition for you. The thing is that it's going to take years for that petition to reach the priority date because there's long waits for children over 21. So like I said, she can petition for you, but it's gonna be a long wait if you're over 21, depending on what country you're from. But if it's Mexico, it can take 20 years.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh.
Carlos, I don't know what.
You said a third party can appeal. What are the requirements for a third to form and potential costs to be able to file an appeal? Okay, so in order, a third party can appeal as long as they have standing. So what that means is that they're being affected by the case in some way. And if they have standing, they can intervene and file a lawsuit if they've suffered any damages. As far as the potential cost, I'm not sure what the cost would be. But right now we're hoping that an organization is able to file that appeal in order to continue DACA here in Texas.
So does that organization have to be from Texas? Because I'm ready to.
Are you ready to intervene?
Like, hi, Denver.
Hi from Denver. Oh, you're welcome, Lee.
So many people from Texas, it just sucks that we're here again,
Yeah, that we're in the same spot again.
But I guess everybody would just have to wait and see what happens that day. I think that they, like you said, they know where we live at already. So
that would be my only concern, that they have all of our information. But
they
I mean,
already
it could potentially work. Move somewhere else and file from a different address.
it's gonna be crazy. But like I said, we just have to wait and see what's gonna happen, guys. Okay, so we're only gonna do 30 minutes today. We're at 25, so I don't know anything else you want to tell Germans together, all the DACA recipients, anybody that's an immigrant at this point, anything
Yeah.
you want to share or tell them at this moment.
Of course. Well, I just want to tell everyone, well, thank you first for all of your questions. And I do want to encourage everyone. I know it's crazy, and this administration has definitely had a lot of obstacles. But everyone, stay positive. For now, keep renewing your DACA, keep applying for advanced parole, and keep applying for your adjustment of status, because even though there's been changes, if you qualify for adjustment of status, you qualify. So you should apply. And a lot of cases are, as long as you have the required documentation, the requirements, then more than likely you'll get approved. Obviously, we can't say we can't give 100% guarantees because it's up to an officer, but I've seen a lot of successes. So keep doing what you have been doing. Don't get into any trouble, and keep following Dreamers Together. And we'll be updating you on any changes as they come along.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be
Thank
back pretty soon. And can we have your information, your phone number?
Yes, of
Are
course.
you able to type it in the chat? I don't know if you have that option.
Okay. Let me see.
Yeah.
So, if anyone has any questions, here's my email. It's diana@dianayaneslaw.com. And my office phone number is 469-586-4030. So you're free to reach us at that phone number, or you can always email me directly, and I'll be happy to discuss your case and offer a free consultation if anyone would like to consult about their case. Thank you, Karina. Thanks, Luis. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Carlos.
Alrighty, so we're gonna get off of here, guys. I will be sharing this live all over Facebook again, so you guys can kind of rewatch it. And we'll be sharing her information also on our Facebook as one of our new attorneys for Dreamers Together. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'm gonna get off now.
All right.